Hello guys, it's me, Bunny Rabbit Lives, and I just turned on my Switch to see y'all's chats. But you see, the thing is, um, I'm actually kind of worried. Why, you may ask? I turned on my Switch and it made the loudest noise, like for real, like super loud. Hey yo, can y'all see? Is this? Yes, I hope so. But yeah, it is working. That is the thing. So I'm glad about that, right? It is working right. I hope so. I hope this is the right one. But yeah. Um Hold on. Because I'm actually kind of worried that it's not working. Okay. Okay, it's working now. I think. Hopefully. Right? Hold on. Let me see. There we go. There we go. I'm actually so confused about, because the Switch is showing one thing. Let me see. I just didn't want to use my other phone because my other phone is literally like at 52. So yeah. Let me see. Whew. Mm. It looks like it's working. It does. So, hello everybody. It's me, Bunny Rabbit Lives, and I'm here to chat with y'all today. Hopefully, like, I can see y'all's chats when y'all chat, but I don't know. You see, I have no idea what's gonna happen, right? Oh, remember to stay hydrated, okay? Because it's important. Okay. But right now, my Tamagotchi is fine. My Tamagotchi survived another day. It is at 50%. It keeps going down super quick. I'm like, bro, what is going on in the House of Commons? You know what I'm saying? But yeah. And then my Tamagotchi, let me check on them before. Okay. So my Tamagotchi had another baby. I think it's a girl this time. I don't know what her name is gonna be. But also, as I said, after I finish reading this book, I will make a Q&A video. I mean, not video, a Q&A live stream, and then as well as a just oh yeah, once I get 400, I'll make a celebration video. And for the future, if y'all do like seeing these live readings, I will be continuing and finishing Don't Let the Forest In. Hello, Sophie. How are you doing? Oh, wow. Whoa. That is new. Wow. Wait, you're sad today? Your rabbit cookie died. Oh no. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. You know, like, you never expect it to happen, but I get how you feel, because I've had pets before that had passed, and it's sad. It's very sad, and you may never, let it go, but it happens. You know, when did Cookie pass away? When did Cookie pass away? Today. Cookie passed away today. My condolences for your loss. Hello, Donald Duck. How are you doing? Are you doing good? Hi. Hello. Are y'all seeing the chat pop up on the screen too, or is it just me? Because now I have two chats open, which is very interesting for me. This has never happened before. It's actually popping up on this screen now too. I always cry into my mom's arms. You're okay, Sophie. Let it all out. The more you cry, the better you will feel. At least temporarily, because the best thing you can do when something important passes is, just keep living life. And also, just keep living. You know, don't let this change you for the negative. Thank you so much for subscribing, Donald Duck. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Because your bunny, Cookie, would be sad if you changed for the worse. You know? At least that's how I like to think since my dog died. See, when he died, I didn't cry when he died, but I cried after. So, I never got over him, by the way. Of course. Thank you so much. I know, and you will be sad. You will be sad for a long time, but as long as you work through it, you know, you will be okay. And I'm sure Cookie will be very proud of you. Hello, admiring captain. How are you doing? I've gone like I don't know. I've lived many, many, many years, guys. I'm an immortal bunny. Come on, guys. I've seen a lot of death in my life, so I know what I'm talking about. Hulu or hello? Look, just stay positive, stay whimsy. I know it seems hard now, but in the future, I promise you will get better. You know? But there's not a lot I can offer you to make you feel better besides, condolences and stuff because I don't know you personally, so I wouldn't know what to do to make you feel better. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I can do is hope that you get through this in a smooth and safe fashion. Yes, Alpha? Alpha, the only thing I'm gonna say is I am for the people. That is all I will say. And that means that whoever is causing harm to whoever, whatever system is there to hurt people, instead of helping them, making stuff affordable, making stuff for people in need, that is what I'm against. And I will always be against it. Like, there will not be anything that can change my mind otherwise. I will always be for the people and those in need. Do I love God? Yes. But, if you have any other questions, you know where I stand. You know where I stand. Because I am not gonna support a system that causes harm to anybody. Immigrants and, people here already. Anybody. All people deserve healthcare, all people deserve things, all people deserve kindness, care, and attention. That's what I believe in. I do not. I am Mexican. I do speak Spanish. But yes, those are some very heavy questions there you've got. What about you? What do you believe in? Me saying that, of course, means that I do not accept any rude or disrespectful things being said about anything or anyone. Yes? So if anybody wants to talk in my chat, it needs to stay kind, respectful, and positive. Yes? Sorry guys, my allergies are like cooking right now. Not gonna lie. Actually, I've been kind of like thinking. I've had a lot of ideas. I kind of like, been thinking about homeless people because I was driving for my parents. I do not know how to translate it. I speak in Spanish. What's it called? So guys, I was driving for my parents to where I live, right? And I saw like two homeless people on the road. Like I saw like Hispanic ones trying to sell stuff, and I saw no, I can't do it because I don't have another phone to do it. I only have my what's it called? My phone that I'm using to record myself and my Switch so I can read chat. But if you can do it in English, because I see that you type English very well, that's fine. But if I can't translate what you post on here, I will have to remove it just because, I don't know what you are saying, if it's like disrespectful or not. So just like if you can type in English, I would suggest doing that, or in Spanish even. I can translate it in Spanish. I know Spanish, but yeah, in Arabic at the moment I can't really translate it. And I will remove it. Hello. I do, but I am not a Republican, so if that's what y'all are trying to get at, I am not that. Half of my words you don't know it? Oh, sorry about that. En español, sí? um, I don't know. Like, sorry. Sorry. But anyways, I was thinking about the homeless people because I saw like the Hispanic ones trying to sell stuff, right? And then I saw a native, not like, you know what I mean, not like a Native American, but like a, you know, an actual like citizen, right? I do not know that language at all. Trading diamond UFO drag of base. Wait, what? Kim, what is going on up in here, guys? Y'all are asking too many personal questions, okay? That's stuff you ask somebody who you know well, okay? You just met me. That's crazy. It's better not to be near the house on Monday. Guys, this is crazy. It's popping up translated on my phone, but it's popping up untranslated on my Switch. Is YouTube actually using AI without me having to like turn it on. What the hell? Are you serious? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, it's making this easier, but that's crazy. Oh, wow. It's actually translating it for you. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Stuff is getting like so weird right now. I don't know. It's weird. I have never had this happen before on my phone. Hmm, interesting. But yeah. Like technically, I'm like that's crazy. How are you gonna ask something so personal? That's crazy. Wait, whatever you post, make it respectful, okay? Okay. I ain't dealing with nothing rude, okay? We gotta be nice and respectful. And my Tamagotchi just pottied itself. Whatever that was, it did not translate it, I think. Oh, wait. Yeah, so as I said, stuff that like spreads stuff that is negative towards the homeless. Actually, I think we need to have more third spaces. I think we need to have more free spaces for people to hang out in, especially parks or like at least like I was thinking like you know how we have so many empty buildings like hotels and stuff? Alpha, why are you asking me this? That is not okay. Look, I am not a politician. All I know is that I am for the people, and right now things are not going well where I am at for anybody except for, the rich, but that is not something that needs to be said. Everyone knows that. But at the moment, I really believe that that is not what I mean that I'm for the people. I mean that whatever somebody says that is harmful, for example, anything like pro very cold iron very cold cubes, okay? Pro that, you're out. Like get out of here. You are not supported. You are not. That ideology is so harmful for everyone. I am for the people, meaning anybody who is against anything harmful towards the majority of human life. I like the environment. I like animals. Yeah, I'm Mexican too. Hey yo, viva Mexico. Hey yo, what's up? No, but for real. That's what I mean. Like, Alpha, you sound like you're going through psychosis. Are you okay? I can't scroll on the chat on my phone, but I will not be saying that. No, Alpha, look, it's fine. Whatever. No more, okay? No more weirdness. See, so that's what I mean. Like, you're trying to ask me who is better. Nobody is better. Everyone is messed up one way or another. I know that. It's translating it on my phone screen, which is new for me. The chat never works on my phone, and today it started to work, oddly enough. But on my Switch, it's not translating the Arabic, but on my phone it is. Which I think is very odd. Like I said, that had never happened before, so it is weird. So, if anybody has any other questions about what is better, which is this, which is that, relating to the political state of the world right now, nobody is better. Everyone has their own corruptions. What I'm saying is, if there is something that needs to get fixed, fix it. If there is people who are in need, help them. If there is systems that are harming the planet, which we need to survive as human beings, fix it. That's what I think. They are. Everyone is corrupt in their own way. We are all human, except some people are more than others. And as I said, if I am for the people, I'm against everything that the current United States president is for. I do not support that guy, and I will never, because he is cruel and he's evil. He is not religious. That is a lie, because religious people care about other people. Religious people are caring and loving people, or they should be, because that's what God would want out of us. Anyways, well, you got a bunch of problems added too. I don't mean to offend you, but all that would cost money as well. That is what I'm saying. See, so I'm thinking donations would be important. But again, if not enough people are making enough money, then there will not be any support to help those who are in need. You get what I'm saying? So either way, like my ideas are all just like little dreams that are very hard to make a reality unless you have the right support, the right income, the right sponsors. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, I have no knowledge of any of that. Dominations. I believe in God. I am not gonna say I'm Christian or I'm Catholic or whatever. I believe in God. Hello, Daniela. How are you doing? What does did mean? Are you trying to say hi? Hello. Hi. That is correct, amiga. I'm a girl. Yeah. Hell yeah. But yeah, John Luna. I have a lot of ideas, but without any way to make it a reality, that's why I'm saying it out here. So in case anybody can make it a reality, they can. They can go ahead and take the idea and run with it. Help as many people as they can, or form a group of like-minded individuals and work together to make it a reality. I don't know. I'm just trying to help people out. Okay, that's all I'm trying to do. Especially since I have no knowledge or power behind anything that I'm saying at the moment. The only thing I can do is entertain y'all, chat with y'all, make y'all laugh, make y'all think, care about one another, spread a little bit of joy and happiness and affection towards your neighbors, your friends, your family, strangers even. I don't know. Sorry, I forgot there was a difference between masculine and feminine in Spanish. Oh, does that mean you're like, are you like me? Are you Americanized? I was, see, I am Mexican, but I have been in the United States for a long time. Yeah, that's okay. I don't judge anyone for that. Um, I know that people have made that saying, like, which is weird because back in the day, you know what torta meant? I don't know what it means nowadays, but torta meant like somebody who was fat or something, Do you remember that old saying, like back in the day? What is it? What was it again? I am not gaming. I'm gonna be reading today. I'm gonna be reading chapter 12 of The Last Unicorn, which is a fantasy book. It's super close to getting done with. So if y'all haven't read the story and y'all want to catch up with us, I have a playlist for it. So yeah. See, but about that word, um, what was that saying back in the day? Then like, where do I think you're from? I don't know. I don't I don't judge anyone on the internet. I don't know where anyone could be from. So unless I ask, I don't know. And I don't assume either because I'm like, I'm just chatting with you as a person. I don't so what I'm saying, this is not out of disrespect to anybody. I don't think about where somebody is from when I talk to them. I don't think I don't think, "Oh my god, let me care about who like where this person watching here is from," because like that would separate you from everyone else. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I do that, I feel like people would take it the wrong way. Like they'd be like, "Oh, so she notices this and then not that," and stuff like that. And I don't really want any conflict between y'all or each other in this chat. You see what I'm saying? So like if somebody tells me, I'm like, "Oh, nice. I wish I had gone there or whatever," or "Oh, nice. What's it like over there?" But other than that, I don't really ask people where they are from unless they want to tell me. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Sounds very scary. I have a friend, or I don't know if like, cause I would consider them a friend, but I don't know if they consider me a friend. They are in Ukraine right now, and I get worried about them, and I also get worried about my other friend who is not from there, but she goes and visits there, and it really scares me because she talks about that stuff, and I get really worried about them. Well, hope that this useless war goes away because I think war should not be a thing. Like, why? Actually. Ugh. But, anyways, can we change the topic to something less depressing, or worrying? Because honestly, just thinking about like my friend going to places like that is scary for me. Because, as I said before, friendships are very deep for me. So if I found out anything happened to them, oh my God, I would not be okay. Do I think there will be a world war? Mm, at this point in time, I cannot say because I am not a political person. In terms of like being able to vote and stuff, I cannot vote. I wish I could, but I can't. So the only thing I can do is hope that nothing bad happens. Hope that this all blows over. Because me, where I am right now, I have no power at all. Alpha, I cannot answer that question for you. All I can say it's from Yeehaw. So, you know what? No more questions like this, Alpha. How about you ask me something more fun? How about what my favorite color is or something? Alright, guys. Fine, last question. What is this? Let me check on my Tamagotchi too because he might be hungry. He just had a baby, by the way, guys. My Tamagotchi got married today and had a baby, so. Alpha, I don't know. Honestly, I am pretty behind on the news because we don't have any cable or any. All I can do is watch TikTok and see what they are saying there, and it's looking pretty scary right now. But that if that is your last question and you can't change the topic, I will have to put you in timeout if you continue to ask questions like this because honestly, it's okay from time to time to talk about this, but I'm here to entertain people, and this is not entertaining, I feel like, to most people. I actually feel like, to me, right now, it's like kind of upsetting. I'm not gonna lie. That's me being honest. Just because, like, thinking about it after you mentioned it, um, worried me. So, yeah. It was very worrying because I really care about my friends and they are in a similar situation right now. So, if it upsets me, I'm sure it upsets many others. I recommend that if you like what you see, if you support what I believe, if you support the content that I share, if you support the way that I hope and believe that everything should be caring, not always positive, but caring, then feel free to subscribe. I will not tell you that I want you to subscribe unless you enjoy the content that you see. Because I believe in genuine subscribers, people who genuinely care about what I say, what I post, what I share with them. So if you do not enjoy that, then I don't recommend that you subscribe. Hello, how are you doing, a fake person? Hi. Are you doing good? I just finished my water bottle, guys. Oh, thanks. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Good. Do you remember me? I think I do. I think I remember a fake person, like the start of your name. I have seen you before, is what you're asking, right? I have. I have seen you before. I remember the people who chat a lot, and also my originals, which that means like the people who subscribe to me since before I started doing reading live streams. Yeah, see, I remembered you from somewhere. What time is it? 8:33. Yeah, I remember you. I remember like I said, I remember people who chat a lot. It's 4 a.m. here. I'm still awake from yesterday. You should probably sleep. If you don't sleep, you could get a higher chance of getting dementia or Alzheimer's when you're older. Dang, 8:33. It's 3:33 right now for me. Oh my gosh, guys, that is so late. Wow. I hope. Wait, 3:33 a.m. or p.m. Because if it's a.m., that's crazy. Oh, 4:30 a.m. is crazy, but yeah. Oh my god, guys. I mean, sometimes I do it to myself, but sometimes I stay up like y'all do. But, it's unhealthy, guys, especially if you're getting older. Oh, okay, I get that. I had a friend who had that before. I mean, she's still my friend. I just can't talk to her as often as I used to. Oh, you a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Okay, so it's 4:30 p.m. You're fine. You got plenty of day to live your life in. But like, guys, remember to also stay active, okay? I don't know. Because if y'all are active, I might be active too. I need to start moving more. Honestly, I've been thinking about like going on more walks or maybe getting into bicycles, like biking a little bit. I used to bike, but then I had an accident. Alpha, I will not answer that. I am not a Muslim. I answered it. Dang it. I need to stop. It's a thing of mine that it's hard for me to like actually ignore some things because I promised myself that I would not ignore anybody because in the past I have felt ignored, right? So I try my best not to make people feel that way. But, you know, Alpha, that is a personal question. You need to ask me something more fun and whimsy, okay? Ugh, I am agnostic. Jeez. I said this. Alpha. Jesus. Oh my goodness. What is with all these questions, sir? You know what? You know what? I am sorry. I am sorry. But this has to get done. You are going into timeout if you continue to ask me these personal questions, okay? If I want to share that with you, I will share it on my own time, okay? Like, I appreciate you caring so much about how I live my life, okay? But these are questions you ask your close friends. You and me just met, Alpha. We are not close friends. Jeez. Okay, guys. If you ask something like that again, I will put you on timeout. Okay? Okay. Behave, please. Okay? Okay. Alright, guys. If y'all are okay, do I love shopping? I do enjoy shopping, but I haven't been able to shop as often as I used to. But you know what, Alpha? I think it is 8:38. I have to get reading, okay, guys? I have to start reading. I love dogs and I like cats. I really love Chihuahuas and Shih Tzus. I love those a lot. I like Shih Tzus because they have sassy personalities, and I love Chihuahuas because, you know, they're cute. I don't want like a mini Chihuahua, I want like a regular size one, because if you get a mini one, they are prone to having issues. Chihuahua, do 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 do. Chihuahua, do 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 do. Chihuahua. Eh. Do y'all know where that's from? That's from that Disney movie, The Chihuahua. Chihuahua. I haven't watched it though in a while because I'm not subscribed to Disney. But I can buy the DVD secondhand. Eh. Anyways, if y'all are ready, I will start reading this book, chapter 12. Okay? Chapter 12 of. Wait, hold on, guys. I will start, but I need to put a comment on there for y'all. to, hold on, I'm putting my bookmark back in there. Okay. With that being said, sure. Thank you for stopping by, Alpha. Really appreciate it. And now, guys, I will be. Wait, what is your eye doing, LMFAO? It's having a party of its own, you know what I'm saying? That's what eyeballs do when they get bored. Goodbye, Alpha. Yeah. Okay. Hello, Amelia. I was playing a game where a character was named Amelia. Are you a VTuber? I am both a VTuber and faceless because if I do gaming streams which people are asking for, then I will be faceless. But if I read for y'all like this, I will have my VTuber avatar. You think you're gonna try to go to bed? Alright, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I hope you stay hydrated. Have a great day or night, and bye. Good night. Also, if you like what you see, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye bye. Thank you, Amelia. Really appreciate it. So, Amelia, if you're here for the first time, I'm about to start reading chapter 12 of The Last Unicorn. So, if you have not caught up, there's a playlist on my channel. Hello, Ken. How are you doing? Hi, guys. I mean, I guess I could chat until 9. But, I do have to get reading because the title does say that I'm reading, so I have to keep it, I have to keep it real. How are you doing? I hope y'all are doing good. Maybe I should have said that I'll be reading chapter 12. Alright. I'll start reading now. 1, 2, 3, and... In the great hall of King Haggard's castle, the clock struck 6. Actually, it was 11 minutes past midnight, but the hall was a little darker than it had been at 6 o'clock or at noon. Yet those who lived in the castle told time by the difference in the dark. There were hours when the hall was cold simply for want of warmth and gloomy for lack of light. When the air was stale and still, and the stones stank of old water because there were no windows to let in the scouring wind, that was daytime. But at night, as some trees hold a living light all day, hold it with the undersides of their leaves until long after sundown, so at night the castle was charged and swarming with darkness, alive with darkness. Then the great hall was cold for a reason. Then the small sounds that slept by day woke up to the patter and scratch in the corners. It was night when the old smell of the stones seemed to rise from far below the floor. Light a light, Molly said. Please, can you make a light? Schmendrick muttered something curt and professional. For a moment nothing happened, but then a strange swallow brightness began to spread over the floor, scattering itself about the room in 1,000 scaring shards that shone and squeaked. The little night beasts of the castle were glowing like fireflies. They darted here and there in the hall, raising swift shadows with their sickly light, and making the darkness even colder than before. I wish you hadn't done that, Molly said. Can you turn them off again? The purple ones, anyway. With the with the legs, I guess? No, I can't, Schmendrick answered crossly. Be quiet. Where's the school? The Lady Amalithea could see it grinning from a pillar, lemon small in the shadows and dim as the morning moon, but she said nothing. She had not spoken since she came down from the tower. There, the magician said. He strode to the skull and peered into its split and crumbling eye sockets for a long time, nodding slowly and making solemn sounds to himself. Molly Grew stared with equal earnestness, but she glanced often at the Lady Amalithea. At last Schmendrick said, All right, don't stand so close. Are there really spells to make a skull speak? Molly asked. The magician stretched out his fingers and gave her a small, competent smile. There are spells to make everything speak. The master wizards were great listeners, and they devised ways to charm all things of the world, living and dead, into talking to them. That is most of it, being a wizard, seeing and listening. He drew a long breath, suddenly looking away and rubbing his hands together. The rest is technique, he said. Well, here we go. Abruptly he turned to face the skull, put one hand lightly on the pale crown, and addressed it in a deep, commanding voice. The words marched out of his mouth like soldiers, their steps echoing with power as they crossed the dark air, but the skull made no answer at all. I just wondered, the magician said softly. He lifted his hand from the skull and spoke to it again. This time the sound of the spell was reasonable and cajoling, almost plaintive. The skull remained silent, but it seemed to Molly that a wakefulness slipped across the faceless front and was gone again. In the scuttling light of the radiant vermin, the Lady Amalinthea's hair shone like a flower, appearing neither interested nor indifferent, but quiet in the way that a battlefield is sometimes quiet. She watched as Schmendrick recited one incantation after another to a desert-colored knob of bone that spoke not one word more than she did. Each charm was uttered in a more despairing tone than the last. The skull could not speak, and yet Molly Grew was certain that it was aware and listening and amused. She knew the silence of mockery too well to mistake it for death. The clock struck 29. At least it was at that point that Molly lost count. The rusty strokes were still clanking to the floor when Schmendrick suddenly shook both fists at the skull and shouted, all right for you, you pretentious kneecap. How would you like a punch in the eye? On the last words his voice unraveled completely into a snarl of misery and rage. That's right, the skull said. Yeah, wake up, old haggard. Its own voice sounded like branches creaking and knocking together in the wind. Yell louder, it said. The old man's probably around here somewhere. He doesn't sleep much. Molly gave a small cry of delight, and even the Lady Amalinthea moved a step nearer. Schmendrick stood with his fists shut and no triumph in his face. The skull said, Come on, ask me how to find the Red Bull. You can't go wrong asking my advice. I'm the king's watchman, set to guard the way to the bull. Even Prince Lur doesn't know the secret way, but I do. A little timidly, Molly Grew asked, If you are truly on guard here, why don't you give them the alarm? Why do you offer to help us instead of summoning the men at arms? The skull gave a rattling chuckle. I've been upon this pillar a long time, it said. I was Haggard's chief henchman once, until he smote off my head for no reason. That was back in the days when he was being wicked to see if it was what he really liked to do. It wasn't, but he thought he might as well get some use out of my head, so he stuck it up here to serve as his sentinel. Under the circumstances, I'm not as loyal to King Haggard as I might be. Schmedrick spoke in a low voice. Answer the riddle, then. Tell us the way to the Red Bull. No, said the skull. Then it laughed like mad. Why not? Molly cried furiously. What kind of game? The skull's long yellow jaws never moved, but it was some time before the mean laughter chattered to a halt. Even the hurrying night things paused for a moment, stranded in their candy light, until it stopped. I'm dead, said the skull. I'm dead, and I'm hanging in the dark watching over Haggard's property. The only small amusement I have is to irk and exasperate the living. And I don't get much chance of that. It's a sad loss, because in life mine was a particularly exasperating nature. You'll pardon me, I'm sure, if I indulge myself with you a little. Try me tomorrow. Maybe I'll tell you tomorrow. But we have no time, Molly pleaded. Smendrick nudged her, but she rushed on, stepping close to the skull and appealing directly to its uninhabited eyes. We have no time. We may be too late now. I have time, the skull replied reflectively. It's really not so good to have time. Rush, scramble, desperation. This missed, that left behind. Those others too, big to fit into such a small space. That's the way life was meant to be. You're supposed to be too late for some things. Don't worry about it. Molly would have entered fur oh. Molly would have entreated further, but the magician gripped her arm and pulled her aside. Be still, he said in a swift, fierce voice. Not a word, not another word. The damned thing spoke, didn't it? Maybe that's all the riddle requires. It isn't, the skull informed him. I'll talk as much as you like, but I won't tell you anything. That's pretty rotten, isn't it? You should have seen me when I was alive. Smedrick paid no attention. Where's the wine? He demanded of Molly. Let me see what I can do with the wine. I couldn't find any, she said nervously. I looked everywhere, but I don't think there's a drop in the castle. The magician glared at her in a vast silence. I looked, she said. Schmedrick raised both arms slowly and let them fall to his sides. Well, he said. Well, that's it then. We can't find the wine. I have my illusions, but I can't make wine out of air. The skull giggled in a cackling, talky way. Matter can neither be created nor destroyed, it remarked. Not by most magicians, anyway. From a fold of her dress, Molly produced a small flask that gleamed faintly in the darkness. She said, I thought if you had some water to start with. Schmendrick and the skull gave her very much the same look. Well, it's been done, she said loudly. It's not as though you'd have to make up something new. I'd never ask that of you. Hearing herself, she looked sideways at the Lady of Melinthia, but Schmedrick took the flask from her hand and studied it thoughtfully, turning it over and murmuring curious, fragile words to himself. Finally, he said, Why not? As you say, it's a standard trick. There was quite a vogue for it at one time, I remember. It's really a bit dated these days. He moved one hand slowly over the flask, weaving a word into the air. What are you doing? The skull asked eagerly. Hey, do it closer. Do it over here. I can't see a thing. The magician turned away, holding the flask to his breast and bowing over it. He began a whispery chant that made Molly think of the thousands that a dead fire continues to make. Oh, wait, my bad. Sorry, guys. Hello. Anyways, sorry. The magician turned away, holding the flask to his breast and bowing over it. He began a whispery chant that made Molly think of the sounds that a dead fire continues to make long after the last coal has faded. You can ask your question, I'll read it after I finish reading. You understand, he said, interrupting himself. It won't be anything special. Vin ordinary, if that. Molly nodded solemnly. Schmendrick said, and it's usually too sweet, and how I'm supposed to get it to drink itself. I haven't the faintest idea. He took up the incantation again, even more softly, while the skull complained bitterly that it couldn't see or hear anything. Molly said something quiet and hopeful to the Lady Amelinthia, who neither looked at her nor replied. The chant stopped abruptly, and Schmendrick raised the flask to his lips. He sniffed at it first, muttering, "Weak, weak. Hardly any bouquet at all. Nobody ever made good wine by magic." Then he tilted it to drink, then shook it, then stared at it, and then, with a small horrible smile, turned it over. Nothing ran out, nothing at all. "It's done," Schmendrick said almost cheerfully. He touched a dry tongue to his dry lips and repeated, "That's done it. That has finally done it." Still smiling, he lifted the flask again and hurled it across the hall. "No, wait. Hey, don't!" The skull's clattering voice protested so wildly that Schmendrick halted before the flask left his hand. Me, he and Molly turned together to regard the skull, which, so great was its anguish, had actually begun to wriggle where it hung, cracking its weathered occiput hard against the pillar as it strove to free itself. "Don't do that!" it wailed. "You people must be crazy throwing away wine like that. Give it to me if you don't want it, but don't throw it away." It rocked and lurched on the pillar, whimpering. A dreamy, wondering look crossed Schmendrick's face, rather like a rain cloud drifting over dry country. Slowly he asked, "And what use have you for wine, with no tongue to taste it, no ribby palate to savor it, no gullet to gulp it down? 50 years dead. Can it be that you still remember, still desire?" 50 years dead. What else can I do? The skull had ceased its grotesque twitching, but frustration had made its voice almost human. "I remember," it said. "I remember more than wine. Give me a swallow, that's all. Give me a sip, and I'll taste it as you never will. With all your runny flesh, all your buds and organs. I've had time to think. I know what wine is like. Give it to me." Schmendrick shook his head, grinning. He said, "Eloquent. But I've been feeling a bit spiteful myself lately." For a third time he lifted the empty flask, and the skull groaned in mortal misery. Out of pity, Molly Grew began to say, "But isn't—" But the magician stepped on her foot. "Of course," he mused aloud, "if you should happen to remember the entrance to the Red Bull's cavern as well as you remember wine, we might bargain yet." He twiddled the flask casually between two fingers. Done! The skull cried instantly. Done for a dram, but give it to me now. I'm more thirsty with thinking of wine than ever I was in life, when I had a throat to be dry. Only give me a single swig now, and I'll tell you anything you want to know. The rusted jaws were beginning to grind sideways on each other. The skull's slaty teeth were trembling and splitting. Give it to him, Molly whispered to Smendrick. She was terrified that the naked eye sockets might start to fill up with tears. But Smendrick shook his head again. I will give it all to you, he said to the skull. Hold on, guys, sorry. Sorry. I will give it all to you, he said to the skull, after you tell us how we may find the bull. The skull sighed but never hesitated. The way is through the clock, it said. You simply walk through the clock, and there you are. Now can I have the wine? Through the clock, the magician turned to peer into a far corner of the great hall, where the clock stood. It was tall and black and thin, the sundown shadow of a clock. The glass over its face was broken, and the hour hand was gone. Behind gray glass, the works could barely be seen, twitching and turning as fretfully as fish. Schmendrick said, You mean when the clock strikes the right time it opens, and then there's a tunnel, a hidden stair. His voice was doubtful, for the clock seemed far too lean to conceal any such passageway. I don't know anything about that, the skull replied. If you wait for its clock if you wait for this clock to strike the hour, you'll be here till you're as bald as I am. Why complicate a simple secret? You walk through the clock, and the Red Bull is on the other side. Gimme. But the cat said, Schmendrick began. Then he turned and walked toward the clock. The darkness made him seem to be going away down a hill, growing small and stooped. When he reached the clock, he kept walking without pause, as though it were truly no more than a shadow. But he bumped his nose. This is stupid, he said coldly to the skull as he returned. How do you think to cheat us? The way to the bowl may well lead through the clock. But there is something more to know. Tell me, or I will spill the wine out on the floor for you to remember the smell and look of it as much as you choose. Be quick. But the skull was laughing again, this time making a thoughtful, almost kindly noise. Remember what I told you about time, it said. When I was alive, I believed, as you do, that time was at least as real and solid as myself, and probably more so. I said 1 o'clock as though I could see it, and Monday as though I could find it on the map, and I let myself be hurried along from minute to minute, day to day, year to year, as though I were actually moving from one place to another. Like everyone else, I lived in a house bricked up with seconds and minutes, weekends and New Year days, and I never went outside until I died, because there was no other door. Now I know that I could have walked through the walls. Molly blinked bewilderedly, but Schmendrick was nodding. Yes, he said. That's how the real magicians do it. But then the clock. The clock will never strike the right time, the skull said. Haggard scrambled the clock. Oh, Haggard scrambled the works long ago. One day when he was trying to grab hold of time as it swung by. But the important thing is for you to understand that it doesn't matter whether the clock strikes 10 next, or 7 or 15 o'clock. You can strike your own time and start the count anywhere. When you understand that, then any time at all will be the right time for you. At that moment, the clock struck 4. The last bang had not yet faded when there came an answering sound from beneath the great hall. Neither a bellow nor the savage grumble that the Red Bull often made when he dreamed. It was a low, inquiring sound, as though the bull had awakened sensing something new in the night. Every flagstone buzzed like a snake, and the darkness itself seemed to shudder as the glowing night creatures scrambled wildly to the edges of the hall. Molly knew, suddenly and surely, that King Haggard was near. "Give me the wine," the skull said. "I have kept my part of the bargain." Suddenly Schmendrick tipped the empty flasks to the empty mouth, and the skull gurgled and sighed and smacked. "Ah," it said at last. "Ah, that was the real stuff. That was wine. You're more of a magician than I took you for. Do you understand me now about time?" "Yes," Schmendrick answered. "I think so." The rebel made his curious sound again, and the skull rattled against the pillar. Schmendrick said, "No, I don't know. Is there no other way?" "How can there be?" Molly heard footsteps, then nothing, then the thin, cautious ebb and flow of breathing. She could not tell where it came from. Schmendrick turned to her, and his face seemed to be smudged from within, like the inside of a lantern glass, with fear and confusion. There was a light, too, but it shook like a lantern in a storm. "I think I understand," he said, "but I'm sure I don't. I'll try." "I still think it's a real clock," Molly said. "That's all right, though. I can walk through a real clock." She spoke partly to comfort him, but she felt a brightness in her own body as she realized that what she had said was true. "I know where we have to go," she said, "and that's as good as knowing the time any day." The skull interrupted her. It said, "I'll give you a bit of advice in the bargain, because the wine was so good." Schmendrick looked guilty. The skull said, "Smash me. Just knock me to the floor and let me break in pieces. Don't ask why, just do it." It was speaking very quickly, almost whispering. Together Schmendrick and Molly said, "What? Why?" The skull repeated its request. Schmendrick demanded, "What are you saying? Why on earth should we break you?" "Do it!" the skull insisted. "Do it!" The sound of breath came nearer from all directions, though only on one pair of feet. "No," Schmendrick said. "You're crazy." He turned his back and started a second time toward the gaunt, dark clock. Molly took the Lady of Melinthi by her cold hand and followed him, trailing the white girl like a kite. Oh, sorry, guys. "All right," the skull said sadly. "I warned you." In a terrible voice, a voice like hell on iron, it began at once to cry, "Help ho the king! Guards to me! Here are burglars, bandits, moss troopers, kidnappers, housebreakers, murderers, character assassins, plagiarists! King Haggard! Ho, King Haggard!" Oh my god. Now over their heads and all around them, feet came clattering, and they heard the whistling voices of the aged men at arms calling as they ran. No torches flared, no light could be struck in the castle unless the king himself ordered it, and Haggard was yet silent. Sorry, guys. The three thieves stood confounded and undone, gaping helplessly at the skull. I'm sorry, it said. I'm just like that, treacherous. But I did try. Then its vanished eyes suddenly saw the Lady of Melinthia, and they went wide and bright, although they could not have. Oh no, it said softly. No, you don't. I'm disloyal, but I'm not that disloyal. Run, Smedrick said, as he had said it long ago to the wild sea-white legend that he had just set free. They fled across the great hall, while the men-at-arms blundered loudly in the dark, and the skull shrieked, Unicorn! Unicorn! Haggard! Haggard! There she goes, down to the Red Bull! My the clock, Haggard! Where are you? Unicorn! Unicorn! Then the king's voice, rustling savagely under the uproar. Fool! Traitor! It was you who told her. His quick, secret footsteps sounded close by, and Schmendrick set himself to turn and fight. But there came a grunt and a crack and a scraping noise, and then the bouncing crunch of old bone and old stone. The magician ran on. When they stood before the clock, there was little grace, either for doubting or understanding. The men-at-arms were in the hall now, and their clashing steps sent echoes booming back and forth between the walls. While King Haggard hissed and cursed them on, the Lady Melinthia never hesitated. She entered the clock and vanished as the moon passes behind clouds, hidden by them, but not in them, thousands of miles alone. As if she were a dryad, Molly thought madly, and time were her tree. What? Through the dim, speckled glass, Molly could see the weights and the pendulum, and the cankered chimes all swinging and burning as she stared. There was no door beyond, through which the Lady of Melinthia might have gone. There was only the rusty avenue of the works, leading her eyes away into rain. The weights drifted from side to side like seaweed. Hold on, guys, I need water. We gotta stay hydrated, you know? Okay. King Haggard was shouting, Stop them! Smash the clock! Molly started to Molly started to turn her head, meaning to tell Smedrick that she thought she knew what the skull had meant. But the magician had disappeared, and so had the hall of King Haggard. The clock was gone too, and she was standing beside the Lady of Melinthia in a cold place. The king's voice came to her from very far away, not so much heard as remembered. She went on, turning her head, and found herself looking into the face of Prince Lur. Behind him there fell a bright mist, shivering like the sides of a fish, and bearing no resemblance at all to corroded clockwork. Smedrick was nowhere to be seen. Prince Lur bent his head gravely to Molly, but it was to the Lady of Melinthia that he spoke first. And you would have gone without me, he said. You haven't been listening at all. She answered him then, when she had not spoken to Molly or the magician. In a low, clear voice, she said, I would have come back. I do not know why I am here, or who I am, but I would have come back. No, said the prince, you would never have come back. Before he could say anything more, Molly broke in, much to her own surprise, crying, Never mind all that. Where's Smedrick? The two strangers looked at her in courteous wonder that anyone else in the world should be able to speak, and she felt herself shake once from head to heels. Where is he? She demanded. I'll go back myself if you won't. And she turned around again. He came out of the mist, walking with his head down, as though he were leaning against a strong wind. He was holding a hand to his temple, and when he took it away, the blood came softly down. "It's all right," he said when he saw that the blood was falling on Molly Grew's hand. "It's all right. It's not deep. I couldn't get through until it happened." He bowed shakily to Princeler. "I thought it was you who went by me in the dark," he said. "Tell me, how did you pass through the clock so easily? The skull said you didn't know the way." The prince looked puzzled. "What way?" he asked. "What was there to know? I saw where she had gone, and I followed." Schmendrick's sudden laugh rubbed itself raw against the snaggy walls and came swimming in on them as their eyes grew familiar with his new darkness. With this new darkness. "Of course," he said. "Some things have their own time by nature." He laughed again, shaking his head, and the blood flew. Molly tore a piece out of her dress. "Those poor old men," the magician said. "They didn't want to hurt me, and I wouldn't have hurt them if I could." We dodged around and around, apologizing to each other, and Haggard was yelling, and I kept bumping into the clock. I knew that it wasn't a real clock, but it felt real, and I worried about it. Then Haggard came up with his sword and hit me. He closed his eyes as Molly bowed his head. "Haggard," he said. "I was getting to like him. I still do. He looked so frightened." The dim, removed voices of the king and his men seemed to be growing louder. "I don't understand," Princeler said. Why was he frightened? Why was he frightened? My father. What did he?" But just then, from the far side of the clock, they heard a wordless squall of triumph, and the beginning of a great crash. The shimmering haze vanished immediately, and a black silence caved in on them all. "Haggard has destroyed the clock," Schmendrick said presently. "Now there is no way back, and no way out but the bull's way." A slow, thick wind began to wake. Oh, guys. Oh my goodness. Are y'all seeing this? That's crazy. We're at chapter 13 now. Should I just keep going? Oh my god. There's so little left, honestly. If I leave this for next time, then I might as well, I might as well like finish it, right? Or not. I mean, it's pretty late. Mm, yeah, I think I'll leave this for next time, which will probably be Wednesday. And thank you so much for stopping by and liking and chatting. And I really appreciate everyone chatting with me and, asking questions, even though they were kind of hard to answer. But thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate it. And so far in the story, oh my god, it sounds like they are trapped now in a clock. That's crazy. Oh, let me see what I missed, by the way. Mm. Oh, hi, Amelia. Hello, I am back. I read until chapter 1. I read chapter 1 of the story. That is so good. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're liking it. Well, actually, did you like it? Since, guys, we're almost so done with this, and I think next time will probably be the last part in the Last Unicorn series. So from now on, like I said, I'm gonna plan more video game live streams. But I still like to read to y'all because y'all still said y'all liked some of it. Although most of you like the video game ones. I will still read to y'all at least once a week if I can. If I get like 3 days off, but I don't know if that will happen again. You know what I mean? I don't know if it will happen again where I get 3 days off. I work. Um, I used to work full time, but I asked for less hours because I mean it's kind of hard, especially like and then I don't know why, but they make me work by myself, so I'm like super exhausted by the end of the day. So that's why, and they make me close most of the time. That's why when work, I can't stream just because I get out super exhausted. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody, and have a great day or night. And if you like what you see, please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. Stay hydrated, have a great night or day, and bye! Goodbye, everybody!